Valley Talk on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Real Estate Talk. I'm your host, Dave Pautsch of RE/MAX Integrity. We're live this, I'm going to call it a beautiful Thursday morning because it is right now. Wait 5 minutes, that could change. We are broadcasting from the Albany studios of KGAL Radio at the old library building, the home of Silver Falls Dermatology. And by the way, if you are a Valley Talk listener, just be aware, tomorrow, KGAL will be live at the Horse Fair and Expo at the Lynn County Fairgrounds. So, it is almost lunchtime, just a little after 11. Are you hungry? If you're hungry, you want to taste on us. That's a $10 Quiznos gift card for the first person this hour to email Dave Adams. And that's dave@kgal.com and mention Taste on Us. That Quiznos gift certificate is for the Albany's Quiznos store. Just like last week, we're going to rearrange today's show a little bit. I have John Bowens on the phone from Equity Trust Company, and I have average investment guy John Gibson from our own KGAL Radio here, and we're going to talk about self-directed IRAs and real estate investing. And I'd like to start with that because I've got John on the show on the phone, and I don't want to have him just sitting lingering while I go on and on. So we'll catch up with the real estate showcase and the market update at the end of the show. But I do want to give you one quick note before we do that. I want to take just a few seconds to remind you about the program we did last week. That was Homes for Heroes. This is a national program that offers rewards to our local heroes for their services when buying, selling, or refinancing. When a hero works with an affiliated real estate professional and or lender, they'll receive a reward, and that's a cash reward from the national organization after they close. Heroes in our community include active duty and retired military, police and peace officers, first responders, nurses, firefighters, medical professionals, and teachers. If you are a hero or if you know a hero who serves our community in one of those areas, please go to www.homesforheroes.com and sign up because service deserves its rewards. So with that, John, are you there?
Here, Dave. Thanks for having me on today.
Great, John. John Bowens, and it's Equity Trust Company. And I've also got John Gibson, the average investment guy here in the studio. So, John, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do with regard to self-directed IRAs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, really what we do is we allow individual investors to self-direct their IRAs or 401ks. So most investors are accustomed to utilizing an IRA or a 401k and investing in stocks and mutual funds, annuity contracts, and various other types of traditional securities. And what our firm does, Equity Trust, is we allow our customers to invest in other alternative assets outside of just stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So instead of investing in those types of assets, our customers are specializing in investing in real estate and various other real estate-based assets. So we have customers that are using their IRA and 401k. They're buying a single-family rent home. They're cash flowing that property, and all that cash flow is then sent back to the IRA account tax-free. Or we also have investors that are utilizing other real estate investment strategies, such as buying, renovating, and reselling, retailing their properties inside of their IRA account. And all the income that they derive from the rental or sale of that property flows back from the investment itself directly back into the IRA account, tax-free or tax-deferred, depending on the type of retirement arrangement. So the idea is, again, is allocating assets away from stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, or maybe just diversifying a portion of their assets away from stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and investing into real estate and various other real estate-based assets. And most importantly, as a passive custodian, what our firm does is allows our customers to invest in those types of assets, and we're not necessarily endorsing or promoting any one particular investment arrangement or telling them to invest in certain types of markets or in certain types of investment strategies. They decide what type of real estate-based assets they want to allocate their retirement accounts to, and then we help facilitate that particular transaction.
So, John, is this a new concept? Is this something that's fairly recently that you've been able to help people do, or has this been around for a while?
It's been around for quite a while. It's been around since 1974. In 1974, the Employee Retirement Income Securities Act was passed, and out of that act gave birth to IRAs, 401ks, and various other retirement arrangements as we see today. And really it wasn't until 1974 that you can invest in real estate with your IRAs and 401ks. And it was in the early 80s that our company founder, Dick Desich, actually put together the first real estate transaction with a number of IRA investors investing in a commercial property. And so we started in about 1983 with 22 customers. and grew the organization to over 132,000 customers with over $12 billion in assets under management. And really, this hasn't become really mainstream until about the past 5 or 6 years.
I mean, I probably just first heard about it myself maybe 2 years ago. I was working with an investor, and he was talking about using IRA funds. So what kind of kept it hidden and out of the light for so long?
Really, what in my belief is that, unfortunately, what we found is through the course since 1974 onwards, most people were accustomed to only investing in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. And certainly there was some volatility, but really we didn't see the volatility in the market until really since about 2008 during the downturn and the economic collapse. And since then, there have been a number of investors that have become disenchanted with the stock market. They're no longer confident in those types of securities. And for those that are looking to invest in real estate and have a particular expertise or knowledge in real estate, they prefer investing their retirement dollars into real estate instead of investing into stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So really, it wasn't necessarily a matter of legality, but rather a matter of choice for most investors. And really, there just wasn't a whole lot of information out there about investing in real estate with IRAs and 401ks. And from the advent of the internet, more people started to learn about these particular arrangements and began allocating their resources into those assets because of that.
So it's and John, I'm going to just I'm sorry, John Gibson. If you want to jump in here with any other questions, please feel free to do so. Your mic is hot. But from my perspective, it seems like something that okay, it's your money, but it's pretty tough to access those dollars, isn't it? Isn't it fairly complicated?
It's fairly complicated in the sense if you're working with a traditional custodian or broker that doesn't have the facilities or personnel to accommodate these particular requests, they're probably not going to allow you to do that. There's only a few firms, and Equity Trust is one of them, that allows you to invest in these alternative assets, mainly in real estate-based assets. So it's certainly an IRS permissible transaction. It's not as if the IRS tells us we can't do that, but again, it's not a matter of legality, but rather a matter of choice. As far as the complexity surrounding accessing those funds, it's a very simple process. In fact, it's really no different than investing in real estate outside of your IRA account. It's as simple as contacting your custodian, such as Equity Trust, and asking for the funds that need to be sent to the title company to close on that particular real estate transaction. And Equity Trust, as the custodian, actually handles all of those arrangements and makes sure that the funds are flowing from the IRA directly to the title company, and that eventually, after the sale of that property or disposal of that property, all the funds will flow back into the IRA account. So you just have that ebb and flow of funds going to and from the IRA. An Equity Trust or the custodian of a client's choosing would actually administer all of those transactions and handle all of the tax reporting and record keeping. So many of our customers, after they utilize the services for about a year or 2 years, usually the feedback we get is this is a more simplified approach to investing in real estate inside of the IRA than it is outside of the IRA, because there's no tax reporting that needs to be done other than what the custodian is actually doing for the customer. And the IRA itself is tax exempt, so all the income derived from the rental or sale of the property in most cases goes back into the IRA account. You don't necessarily have to claim that income as personal income because it's within your IRA, which is tax exempt, just like when you're investing in stocks or mutual funds. All the income derived from the sale of those securities or from the dividend payments that you'll receive go back into the retirement arrangement, tax deferred or tax free, and it's not a requirement to show that income on your own personal tax return when you file that.
Wow. So before, and I apologize, we're right up against, I want to take a quick break. I think this is a really interesting topic, and I think there's a lot of questions. I think we'll talk a little bit on the break between John Gibson and myself, because obviously you don't do this free of charge. But I want to get into a little bit of that when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Real Estate Talk today, self-directed IRAs with John Bowens of Equity Trust Company, and I'm being assisted by average investment guy John Gibson. We'll be right back.
Gift certificates are always appreciated, and giving one from St. Vincent de Paul is even more cause for celebration. That's because dollars go further at St. Vincent de Paul. Whether it's books, clothing, furniture, or appliances, they're all right here, and they're all available with one of our gift certificates. So have some fun, save some money, and give a St. Vincent de Paul gift certificate to someone you care about. We're St. Vincent de Paul, and we're located at 2220 Southeast Pacific Boulevard in Albany, right next to Big 5 Sporting Goods.
When a horse becomes neglected and unwanted here in the Mid-Willamette Valley, the Linn County Animal Rescue steps up to help. They will be at the Northwest Horse Fair at the Linn County Fairgrounds March 22nd through the 24th, where you can check out their donated items for sale, gift certificates, and 2 raffle items. You can buy single $1 or 6 for $5 raffle tickets for your chance at a Traeger Jr. barbecue or an Insta-Hot equine washing system. Check out Linn County Animal Rescue at the Horse Fair and visit their website, lcarhorse.org.
It can show up anywhere. It can strike anytime, day or night. No, it's not that sudden craving for ice cream. It's a dead car battery. Hey, your supercharged AAA guy here. When a dead battery strikes, it's nice to know you've got AAA's dependable roadside assistance to get you back on the go quickly. They'll test your battery and electrical system and provide you with a jump start. But wait, you may not know the whole story. With AAA's mobile battery service, it doesn't stop there. Nope. After these experts diagnose your battery's health, if you need a new one, you can purchase it right on the spot. They'll even recycle your old battery. We're talking full service here, folks. AAA batteries are top of the line, competitively priced, and come with a 3-year full replacement warranty. Speaking of top of the line, here's Jackie.
Very clever, AAA guy. To join, call 1-800-JOIN-AAA. Visit your nearest service center or AAA.com. As a member, you'll also enjoy discounts on shopping, travel, lodging, and insurance.
AAA. Membership means more.
Battery purchase and installation may be limited by location, hours, and availability.
Hi, this is the M&M Kid Mike Mason inviting you to join me this Friday from 11 till 1 o'clock as I broadcast live on Unforgettable 920K Show at John and Phil's Subaru in Corvallis, the only Subaru dealer in the Mid-Willamette Valley, with great savings on the best-selling cars in America during their Subaru Love Spring event. I'll have hundreds of dollars in prizes to give away. So stop in this Friday, 11 to 1 at John and Phil's Subaru in Corvallis, Highway 99 West at 800 Northwest 5th Street. See you there.
Deep clean, squeaky clean, that's what you want for your home and business. TM Janitors has been providing just that for years throughout the Mid-Valley. Glowing reports from Paloma, North Albany, Corvallis, Lebanon. Happy, satisfied clients. Great value, too. A fraction of the price of the national franchises. Get a quote from TM Janitors today. Mention this ad and get $50 off your initial deep cleaning. Call now, TM Janitors, 570-9711. Make a note, TM Janitors, 570-9711.
The Car Show, Saturday afternoons on News Talk 1580, KGAL.
And welcome back to Real Estate Talk. I'm Dave Pautsch of RE/MAX Integrity. We're in the studio today with John Gibson, the average investment guy, and John Bowens from Equity Trust Company is on the phone with us. We're talking about self-directed IRAs. John, welcome back.
Welcome back, Dave.
Okay, here we go. Before the break, we were kind of talking, there's some amazing things that you're doing, but it doesn't come free, right? There is a fee for these third-party services, correct?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Our average client pays $316 per year. It is on a sliding scale. So as the portfolio value increases with that portfolio, then we're going to charge a little bit more as an annual maintenance fee. So just to put it into perspective, I'm not going to go through the whole schedule, but accounts between $50,000 to $100,000, which is pretty average, our clients pay $316 per year. And then if their account's $100,000 to $200,000, they pay $440 a year. $200,000 to $300,000, they pay $600 a year, so on and so forth. And then once they get to $1 million and more, they pay $1,850, and that includes all transactions, investments, record keeping, reporting. The only time we charge extra is when they need to send a wire transfer to or from. We charge a $30 wire fee. But other than that, it's all inclusive.
That does not sound like an onerous fee at all. I think I'm probably paying more than that on my my current IRA.
Absolutely. Typically, we're going to see typical advisory fees anywhere between 1.5%, 2% annually. If you do the math on our portfolio value sliding scale, you're going to find it's anywhere between 0.01 to at most 1%. So it's very competitive with the other traditional securities investments offered.
So can you kind of walk us through a transaction? So I've decided I have $75,000 that I'm gonna that I have in my IRA, and I want to turn it into these self-directed funds to make a real estate investment. What's my first step?
Absolutely. So our most popular investment choice amongst our customers is buying a single or multifamily rent home for rental purposes, of course. So our customers just want that residual income flowing back into the IRA account on a monthly basis. And so let's say, for instance, we'll take that scenario at $75,000. Let's say you want to buy a $50,000 rent home, and you're going to cash flow it at $500 per month. So the first step of the process, you'd want to communicate with Equity Trust Company to establish a self-directed IRA account. And so Equity Trust would help in facilitating the transfer of funds from your current custodian or broker directly to Equity Trust Company. So we would get the $75,000 from the IRA it's currently in, or 401k that's currently in, into an Equity Trust IRA or 401k. In doing so, common question, there's no taxes, there's no penalties associated with the movement of those funds. Once the funds are in the self-directed IRA account, which can take, I do want to make everybody aware that it can take anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks. So it's very important the account is established and funded well in advance before making offers on properties. But once you have that $75,000 in the IRA account, let's say again, you're going to move $50,000 out for the purchase of that rent home. So $50,000 is going to be transferred from the IRA with Equity Trust directly to the title company or closing attorney. And then in return for that cash that is distributed to the title company or closing attorney is going to be a deed to the property. So a deed essentially is that security instrument that's held in custody in the IRA. So it's no different than buying stocks and mutual funds. When you buy a stock in an IRA account, cash leaves the account. In return for that cash is a stock certificate. It's the same concept here. Cash leaves the account. In return for that cash is going to be a deed to the property.
Okay, I got a mechanical question here. So the $50,000, in order for me to make an offer on the property, I need to have an offer written and somebody needs to sign it as the buyer. So am I the buyer? Am I the trustee that's the buyer? Does Equity Trust have to sign the offer? Who's the signatory and the negotiator of that contract?
Sure. So the account holder themselves is the negotiator on that particular transaction. The account holder is signing the actual purchase contract. Equity Trust is merely the custodian or the facilitator of the actual funds being transferred from point A to point B. So when you draft a purchase contract, for instance, Dave, as an agent, if you're representing an IRA customer, you're going to draft that purchase contract, Equity Trust Company, custodian, FBO isn't for benefit of, the customer's name, IRA. So that's what's going to be on the purchase contract, that's going to be on the settlement statement, and then eventually the deed to the property. So it's the IRA that owns that property, not the individual personally. However, it's the account holder or the IRA holder that is actually making all the decisions on behalf of the IRA, not Equity Trust and not myself personally representing Equity Trust.
Okay, so they're signing it themselves, but they're signing it as that real estate entity or that other IRA entity.
That's correct. Yes,
okay.
There's no special signature. They use their old-fashioned John Hancock as always.
Now, what if I want to use that $50,000 as a down payment on a property? Let's say the property is $250,000 or $150,000. So I'm using that funds. Can I buy a financed property, or does it all have to be a cash transaction?
You can buy a financed property. However, I will warn the callers that most banks or lending institutions will not lend to an IRA account because in order to lend to an IRA account, they have to agree that the only recourse they have is against the property itself. So it's a truly non-recourse loan. There's a provision that would, in that particular loan agreement, that would state in the case of a default, the only recourse that I have as a lender is against the property itself. So unfortunately, you can't obtain a conforming loan in accordance with the actual, or in association with the actual retirement account. There are non-recourse lenders. There are quite a few of them, in fact. But again, not every bank or lending institution will do that. And I usually encourage clients to speak to their local lending institution. If they're working with a local credit union or regional bank and they have a good relationship with the loan officer, certainly they could obtain the non-recourse financing through those individuals. But again, you go into your larger lending institutions and they're probably not going to be willing to lend to an IRA account. Most of our customers are either buying property 100% outright with their IRA, or they're partnering their IRA money and their personal money, or their IRA in a business, or their IRA in a spouse or significant other's IRA, in order to acquire that property. But we do have some customers, only a few, but we do have a few customers, again, that are actually obtaining that non-recourse financing in order to acquire property. Or certainly if they're going to buy a property and the seller's willing to finance that property, or if they have a local hard money lender, that's certainly a viable solution as well.
Okay, John has a question.
Well, I guess my question is from the IRA perspective. So you own the property, but suppose during the middle of the time that you own the property, you want to know what the value of your asset is. I get a monthly statement from my annuity account or my IRA account. How would an investor know what the core value of his property is doing? Would he have to get an appraisal or something like that?
On an annual basis, we ask our customers to submit to us what we call a fair market valuation. It's essentially a broker's opinion. They don't necessarily have to go out and pay to get an appraisal done. They don't have to furnish comparables or an entire market analysis. We're just looking for a broker's opinion. Many of our customers, in fact, they will go to the tax assessor's office and they'll obtain an opinion from them through this fair market valuation and submit that to Equity Trust Company only on an annual basis. It's not a requirement to submit to Equity Trust Company on a monthly basis or every week what the valuation of that asset is. Now, initially, when the client acquires the property, the fair market valuation that's listed on the account and the fair market valuation that's ultimately submitted to the Internal Revenue Service is going to be the purchase price of that property until the client tells us otherwise. If there's improvements that are made to the property that increase the value of that property substantially, but the customer, when submitting that bill pay request or that request to release funds to pay for those expenses, is also going to submit to us a valuation stating that this $20,000 investment in this property has increased the value by $15,000. Therefore, the valuation of this asset is no longer $50,000, it's now $65,000. So we have a process and we have procedures in place in order to accurately represent the true valuation of that property so that on an annual basis, when we report to the federal government through a 5498, we can give them an accurate valuation of that property. But again, that's the responsibility of the customer to furnish that documentation and that appraisal or that fair market valuation to us on an annual basis. Otherwise, we just have to go off the purchase price of that asset.
So, John, as you were explaining that, another question popped into my head here. So if you're going to improve the property, so, and that's really, I think, for a lot of people where the opportunities are in this market is buying properties that are undervalued in large part because they're foreclosures, they're in a less than marketable condition, which allows them to be a good investment. But now you've got to put money into the property. How does that work with regard to where do the funds come from? Do they have to be funds within the IRA? Can you take other funds and put it in? How does that work? How do you control that?
Okay, sure. So all of the expenses that you incur on that particular property, so HOA dues, any additional repairs, general maintenance, utilities, tax insurance, etc. All of that has to be paid from the actual IRA account. So if the IRA owns that property, you cannot commingle your personal funds and your IRA funds, which means if you have an expense that comes up on that property purchase, that has to be paid from the IRA. You can't pay for that with your own personal money. So all the expenses are paid from the IRA account, and then likewise, all of the income derived from the rental or sale of that property is going to flow back into the IRA account. So the customer just has to make sure, in order to not violate the Internal Revenue Code, that all of the funding goes back into the IRA account and all the expenses are paid from the IRA account. And essentially what they're doing at that time is they're writing checks from the IRA directly to whoever they have to pay. So from an IRS reporting perspective, it's not as if each and every one of those incremental expenses or debits and credits has to be documented and then furnished to the federal government. We document that as the custodian. We handle all the record keeping associated with each and every one of those incremental transactions. But it's not as if that's a taxable situation or a reportable event where you have to disclose to the federal government on an annual basis exactly what's going on, all the expenses you're paying, as well as all the profits you generate from the rental or sale of property.
So I apologize for being kind of a what-if guy, but let's say, for example, I have a maximum of $70,000 in my IRA. We purchased a property for $50,000, and then as we're getting into it, the property's purchased, and I need to do some renovations, and now I find out it's going to cost me $30,000 to do these renovations. So my IRA is now $10,000 short. Mm-hmm. Can I put additional money into the IRA? Does it flow through that way, or am I limited by how much that I can contribute to that IRA in order to accomplish what I need to do?
So in order to avoid a prohibited transaction, we would call that, you wouldn't want to pay for that $10,000 expense from your own personal money. You would first need to make a contribution to the IRA. Now, there are contribution limits to an IRA, and they vary depending on the type of retirement account. So if you had the ability to contribute additional money to the account, you weren't going to exceed your contribution limits. You could put money into the IRA account and then pay for those expenses. If you've already maxed out your contributions to your IRA in that year, or if you don't have earned income and you can't contribute to an IRA any longer, at that point in time, you'd have to look at two different avenues to explore. The first one would be finding a hard money lender or finding a non-disqualified person to lend your IRA the money So you could then pay for that expense, and then eventually the IRA can pay back that lender. That lender should not be somebody in your immediate family, nor should it be you personally, because you'd be in violation of the Internal Revenue Code. So if that didn't work for you, if you couldn't find somebody that could lend you the money or lend your IRA the money to pay for the expense, you could take a distribution of the asset, and then once you take a distribution of that asset, that becomes yours. Thereby, you can utilize your own personal funds to finance the additional repairs associated with that property. But keep in mind, if you take a distribution of that asset and it's in a tax-deferred account, whatever that fair market value of that asset is at that time is going to be distributed to you as ordinary income and could substantially increase your marginal tax rate, thereby increasing your effective tax rate and increasing your tax exposure. So
that sounds like a sticky wicket.
Yeah, typically our customers, that's why, before a transaction, and Dave, I know you can attest to that, John, you're doing a full market analysis and you're doing analysis of that property. You're looking at your after repair value. You're looking at the repairs that have to be done. So that way you can allocate your expenses appropriately to ensure that you don't get yourself into harm's way and run out of cash to finance the repairs.
Okay, John, we are up against a break. And it's our bottom of the hour break. So we're going to take a break. We're going to continue when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Real Estate Talk on KGAL with John Bowens of Equity Trust Company, using your self-directed IRA funds for investment. Great concept. And average investment guy, John Gibson. We'll be right back.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by LifeLock, not only guarding your identity, your good name and credit, but also monitoring bank accounts for takeover fraud. LifeLock is the only identity theft protection company that does that. Find out more at lifelock.com. I'm Sam Litzinger, sitting in for Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network. I recently warned you about the dangers of meteors and asteroids and nuclear missiles. Today, I'd like to warn you about rats. More specifically, about rats and nuclear reactors. Apparently, they don't go together well. More after this from Charlie.
Springtime is here. This is the perfect time to send beautiful flowers when you want to celebrate something special. Make someone smile today with a lovely bouquet from the folks at 1-800-Flowers.com. Their flowers are just gorgeous, and they're just perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, Easter, and more. I recently received their spring tulip bouquet, 30 full and vibrant tulips, all in the pastel colors of spring. And as always, these flowers are backed by a 100% smile guarantee every single time. Right now, 1-800-Flowers.com has a special limited-time offer since you listen to the Osgood File. Order the 30 spring tulip bouquet for only $30. That's $15 off the regular price. So don't wait. To get this offer on spring tulips, go now to 1-800-Flowers.com, either from your desktop or mobile device. Click on the radio microphone at the top of the page and enter my last name, Osgood, O-S-G-O-O-D. That's 1-800-Flowers.com and enter Osgood. Or just call 1-800-Flowers and mention Osgood.
Remember when Michael Jackson sang that song about a cute, cuddly rat named Ben?
Ben, the two of us need look no more.
Well, we found a rat that is neither cute nor cuddly, because it apparently was on the verge, according to some maybe overexcited news accounts, of causing a meltdown at a nuclear reactor in Japan. The Fukushima reactor has pretty much been a mess for 2 years since the country was hit by an earthquake, followed by a tsunami, followed by a nuclear disaster. They got the plant up and running again, but now comes word a rat. One rat managed to get inside the plant and into a switchboard, causing a short circuit and triggering a power cut. If you're interested, and given the effects of this, you may well be, there are photos of the fried, deceased rat on the internet. The spokesman for the power company that runs the plant, but couldn't keep out the rat, says, "We have deeply worried the public," to which I say, no kidding. A rat can shut down an entire nuclear power plant? Critics say this is another indication Japan should not be using nuclear power plants right now, especially not one that can be shut down by a fried rat. I personally think that latter consideration is an important one. If terrorists realize it can take just one trained rat to do something like this, we're probably in trouble. Do we need to start training counter-terrorist cats? The Osgood File, Sam Litzinger on the CBS Radio Network.
Banking these days can be pretty impersonal. You've got your big banks, your internet banks, your do-it-yourself banks, and your too big to fail banks. That's wwhy you might be interested in an alternative. Willamette Community Bank. Hello, this is Bill Higbee, residential lender. You deserve better service without sacrificing a thing. So if you're feeling underserved, make the switch to the best banking option out there, with branches in Albany and Lebanon.
Willamette Community Bank. Service like no other. We promise. Member FDIC,
Equal housing lender.
You don't have to leave town to find spring break fun. Museums, shopping, movies, river walks, tour the Carousel Museum, learn a new craft, even feed the ducks. There's lots to do in downtown Albany. March 30th is the annual Easter egg roll and bunny hop scavenger hunt. Meet the Easter Bunny and you might win a Toy Factory gift certificate. From retail shops to personal services, entertainment, and great dining, you can find it all in historic downtown Albany. For details on upcoming events and happenings, go to albanydowntown.com.
Hi, this is Karen with Mega Foods. Our Easter breakfast deal is back starting March 6th through March 31st. Purchase a 4-pound Gusto ham at our everyday low price of $14.99 and get the following items free. Western Family 2-pound hash browns, a dozen large Willamette eggs, half-gallon Western Family milk, and 12-ounce pack of English muffins. What a great deal. Treat your family to a delicious Easter meal. And thank you for shopping at Mega Foods. We are a good neighbor.
Into the woods and onto the waters. Listen to Northwestern Outdoors, Saturday nights on Smart Talk 1580.
And welcome back once again to Real Estate Talk. I'm Dave Pautsch of RE/MAX Integrity. We're talking self-directed IRAs and using them for real estate investment. John Bowens from Equity Trust Company is on the phone, and John Gibson, the Average Investment Guy, is here in the studio. So, John, you had a question for John before we, over the break.
All right, John. So I'm 53 now, and I'm starting to look at my IRAs.
You look darn good for 53, by the way,
I look
John.
great for 53. So let's take your business. So we get all the way to 59 and a half, and I want to go ahead and retire. And so what do I do? Do I put the property up for sale, of course, and then sell it? The proceeds go to you. Do you guys distribute it on a monthly basis, or do I do like we did in the very beginning? I send you a bunch of money from my old IRA. Do you just send us a bunch of money and I go put it in a different IRA?
There are a number of options, and for all the callers here, at 59 and a half, that's when you can start distributing funds from your retirement account without a penalty. If you take funds out of a retirement account before 59 and a half, then you have a 10% penalty and ordinary income taxes if it's a tax-deferred account. Now, when we talk about investing in real estate, if we take money out to buy a property or we take money out to lend money to another investor, there's no taxable situation here. Okay, but we're just talking about, to John's point, when I want to start distributing funds, prior to 59 and a half, there's a 10% penalty. But now let's say after 59 and a half, to go back to your question, John, there's a number of options at that point in time. If you had a property in the account, going back to Dave's example, I'm going to buy, I have $75,000 in an account, I'm going to buy a $50,000 rent property, I'm cash flowing it at $500 per month. So what you can do at 59 and a half is rather than distributing the actual asset and having a very large tax burden, you can take that $500 out a month, let's say, out of the IRA account after the rent checks are deposited in the IRA account. And that's what many of our customers will do during their retirement years, is rather than distributing the entire account or liquidating their rent homes, they still appreciate a lot of that cash flow. So what they're going to be doing is having all of the cash flow go back into the IRA first, and then they'll take a distribution from that account. And if they want to take a distribution for their living expenses on a monthly basis, they can certainly do that. So going back to the example, $500 would be deposited initially tax-free into the retirement arrangement, and then during that same month, that client can take a distribution of that $500 for their own living expenses. If they do get to a point where maybe they want to live in the property themselves, or they no longer want to manage it in their IRA, they can certainly take a distribution of the asset if they wanted to. And if they have additional cash in the account above and beyond the actual asset itself, they can distribute funds rather than distributing the asset. And certainly if they wanted to, they can sell the property, have all the cash go back into the IRA account, and then if they wanted to, let's say, for instance, distribute the funds to them personally, they could, or they could transfer it to another custodian or broker. Maybe they wanted to invest in a long-term annuity contract or some other type of traditional security. They can certainly do that at a time as well. So they can sort of alter their investment strategy, going from alternative investments into real estate and going back into the stock market or into an annuity contract or something that they might feel is a little bit more conservative in nature.
So here's another twist, John. I look at investment property, and what I love about real estate investing is rather than a home, I can choose to sell real estate when the market tells me to sell. That now is the opportunity as the cycles go. So if I'm investing in a property through my IRA, through this process, and the market says to sell it, but I have another property that I want to buy, I know if I'm not involved in an IRA, I can use the 1031 exchange in order to defer the capital gains on that. Do I have the same options when I'm in a self-directed IRA?
Absolutely. And in fact, a 1031 exchange is really inherent in an IRA account because an IRA is tax exempt from the very beginning. But unlike a 1031 exchange, there's no time limitations associated with your IRA making those investments. So if you bought a property and sold a property, and then regardless of whether you do it 30 days, 60 days, or 2 years from now, you still have the benefit of tax-exempt status, and therefore you can then use those funds to go out and buy another property at equal, more or less value. That's entirely up to you.
So I'm not restricted the same way I am with the 1031?
That's correct, yes.
Awesome.
Wow. I did not know that.
See, well, and that's why you listen to Real Estate Talk, John, is you learn something new every time you tune into this show. I was talking to a friend of mine at Rotary the other day who is a financial advisor. And I said, hey, I'm having this guy on my radio show to talk about self-directed IRAs and using them for real estate. And I want to get back to the fees. He said, well, that's fine, but that's really expensive. Is there a perception out there that again, we talked how low the fees were. Is there a perception out there that this is incredibly complicated and too hard for people? Or do financial advisors on the whole just have a reason to defer their clients from this?
I would say a little bit of both. Certainly there is a misperception out there that it's expensive and burdensome and certainly very difficult to invest in real estate with a self-directed IRA. But for our investors who have experience with investing in real estate, and many of our novice investors as well, who are just getting started for the first time, after a year of utilizing the system and investing with the IRA, they find that it's a more simplified approach to investing in real estate. And really in the long run, they'll find that, number one, they're saving on taxes because they avoid capital gains or ordinary income tax on all of their investment returns in their IRA because it's tax exempt per the federal government. And furthermore, at the end of each year, let's say, for instance, they own a rent property within that account. It's not a requirement for them to actually go to their CPA or tax professional in order to calculate the depreciation and all the tax write-offs because the IRA is already tax exempt from the very beginning. So it's in many cases you'll find that it's a more simplified approach to investing in real estate than outside of your IRA account because you don't have the mundane tasks associated with maintaining real estate outside of your IRA as you would inside of your IRA account. And there's certainly a misperception out there that it's more expensive just from a fee-based perspective for the custodian that you're actually working with. In fact, in most cases, it's really not. And a lot of that misperception comes from when investors receive their account statements through their traditional securities broker or advisor, or when they're speaking to their traditional securities broker or advisor, they'll tell them there are no fees associated with your IRA account, which there may not be fees associated with the IRA itself in the maintenance of the IRA, but there's certainly fees associated with the actual investments that they're making. And really a client would have to dig down deep and look at the actual mutual funds or the other securities they're investing in to figure out what are the commissions that they're paying on the buy or sell of that particular security. They'll want to look at the expense ratio associated with the mutual funds that they're subscribing to, whether they're going on Morningstar.com or Yahoo.com or whatever it is. You know, it's very important that a client would look at those particular fees and determine what it is that they're actually paying. Equity Trust, because our customers are investing self-directed in real estate, we just charge an annual maintenance fee, which we're full disclosure. And most importantly, as the client invests going forward, we don't receive any of the residual income or any of the returns on their investment. So if they're making 12% on their real estate transactions, it's not as if Equity Trust is skimming off 2% as a performance-based fee. Regardless of what returns they're making in the IRA account, we're still only charging them that annual maintenance fee, which again, our average client is paying $360 per year.
Right. So go ahead, John.
Okay, I have a question. I heard you saying that the IRA, everything is the dividend and everything is free. So the difference between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA is taxation. You pay your taxes up front for the Roth and you defer it in the traditional. Are these Roth IRAs that you're talking about, or are these the more traditional IRAs, or could they be both?
Both. Okay. We have clients that are investing with a tax-deferred traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. Now, for a majority of our customers, if they've had an account for a number of years, or at least well before 1998, they don't have a Roth IRA account. They have a traditional IRA or a tax-deferred account, which means when they put the money in, they got a deduction. When they eventually take the money out, that's when they have to pay taxes based on their ordinary income tax rate. The idea, though, is in each incremental year, as you grow wealth within that IRA and as you invest in real estate, whether you're rehabbing and reselling or you're renting properties, all of that income is going to go back into your IRA tax exempt, tax deferred. A Roth IRA, you put the money in after tax, you grow it 100% tax free, and then you distribute the funds 100% tax free as well. That is certainly the preferred investment vehicle for our customers because they see the benefit of 100% tax free growth. However, again, the Roth IRA didn't come about until 1997 when Senator Roth enacted the legislation. So, unfortunately, most people just don't have access to Roth IRA money, and most people are investing tax deferred.
So I was telling one of my best friends, who is a contractor who flips houses, about this show, and his ears picked up. He said, "I really want to listen to that because I want to figure out how I can do that." And I said to him, I can see where this is really beneficial for people who buy rental properties, multifamily properties, single-family rentals. But when you get into renovation and rehab, there's a real complication because he, as a contractor, is now, if he's using this type of funds, this type of a program with his funds, he can't do the work on the house. Am I correct in that?
Yes, that is correct. So the Internal Revenue Code states that you can't furnish goods, services, or facilities between the plan and a disqualified person including the account holder to themselves. So the scenario that you had laid out there, a contractor who has a business that's rehabbing properties, if he was to use his IRA, let's say, for instance, buy a property and then use his management company or his construction company to rehab that property and resell the property, the IRS, if he were to be audited, could potentially say he's in violation of the Internal Revenue Code. What we typically advise clients to do is to, certainly if they would like to, manage the actual rehab of that property, but they shouldn't be using their own contractors on their books through their construction company, and they also should not be doing the hands-on work themselves. So they shouldn't be swinging the hammer to the nail. But as far as actually managing the rehab project, managing the subcontractors or the general contractor, certainly that is acceptable.
Yeah, but for the most part, I think people who are going to get into renovating and rehabbing, flipping houses, the cost savings of them doing the work themselves is what makes it a beneficial investment. So while it's possible to do it, would you agree that this is probably more suited to the rental property scenario for investors?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would say yes and no. Certainly a rent home is a much more passive investment that requires less involvement from the customer as far as the intricacies, again, of actually doing a lot of the hands-on work themselves. And most of our investors who are rehabbers as well, they certainly want to do a lot of the hands-on work themselves. So when they're using their IRA account, in many cases, they'll say, I'm going to leave my rehabs for the business I'm doing outside of my IRA. My rent homes that I'm going to be buying, I'm going to do inside of my IRA account. Because logistically, mechanically, it makes more sense.
Well, John, we need to wrap up. I really appreciate all the time you've given us this morning. So obviously, we have not asked every possible question, and we haven't been able to get through this entire very complex subject. If there are listeners out there who want to contact you directly for more information, how can they do that?
Sure, absolutely. So the name of our company is Equity Trust Company. Our website is trustetc.com, so it looks like trustetcetera.com. And my direct phone number here is 855-499-1648. Again, first name is John, last name is Bowens. That's spelled Bowens. And I guess one more time there, it's 855-499-1648. And certainly if any caller has any questions or you want to run by a particular proposal, I'm always happy to help out.
And we will post to the KGAL site, www.trustetc.com. John, thank you so much for spending your time here with us today. Before I let you go, I just want to throw it to John Gibson. Do you have any other questions for John before we let him go?
Yeah, I was just wondering, are you national, and are you seeing parts of the country that are doing more of this than other parts?
Absolutely. We do business in all 50 states. In fact, I just assisted 2 customers closing on properties down in Costa Rica. I have clients investing in Ecuador. We have clients investing all over the world with their United States IRA accounts. We do business in all 50 states. We have a number of customers, in fact, out on the West Coast, California, Washington State, Oregon. But a majority of our business is centralized in the Midwest. You will find out in your Idahos and Wyomings, we don't have as many customer accounts there. But we have customers in all 50 states. We have over 132,000 customers. And we're over 1/5 of the market. There's only about 500,000 customers nationwide that are actually investing alternatively in real estate and other real estate-based assets with their IRAs.
And now is the time to do it. The market is just coming off the bottom. The opportunities are out there. So if this sounds like something for you, that's trustetc.com and ask for John Bowens.
Thank you, Dave.
John, thank you so much for spending time with us. And I'm going to let you go. We're going to take our last break, and I'm going to finish up the show with the normal stuff. So, again, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Real Estate Talk on KGAL. We'll be right back with the market update and the real estate showcase.
Going out to lunch at a nice restaurant can be expensive, and the big portions put you more in the mood for a nap than a productive afternoon. Mama's Fine Italian to the rescue. The small appetite senior menu is just right. Anyone and everyone is invited to order from the Light Appetites menu for lunch from 11 to 4 p.m. with tasty entrees beginning at only $3.95. Why go hungry or go anywhere else for lunch? Eat healthy, eat light at Mama's. Closed Sunday and Monday, so make the most of Tuesday through Friday and join your friends at Mama's for lunch. Dinner only on Saturday. Mama's features charbroiled steaks every day. Make reservations for dinner or pick up a bottle of fine wine. Seating is limited, so please call for reservations. 541-451-5050. That's 451-5050. Mama's Fine Italian and Wine Shop on West Oak between Main and 2nd in Lebanon, across from the big blue Napa Auto Parts building.
Jay Farner here from Quicken Loans. We get a lot of tweets from folks that sound just like this. Jay, I bought my home in 2007. Since then, it's gone down in value. Now I owe more on my mortgage than my home is worth. Can I refinance? The answer may very well be yes. Recently, the government announced changes that may allow folks to refinance even if their home has lost value. For example, if you owe $300,000 on your mortgage, but your home's only worth $150,000, Quicken Loans may still be able to help you. Or if your current mortgage rate is higher than 3.99%, you've got to give us a call today at 800-QUICKEN. And for 3 years in a row now, J.D. Power & Associates has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. So if your current mortgage is higher than 3.99%, or if you owe more than your home is worth, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
For J.D. Power & Associates award information, visit jdpower.com. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Hi, this is Shannon Jones of Jones 5 Auto Sales on 9th Street in Corvallis. I'd like to invite you to stop by and see our great selection of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. If you stop by after business hours, my upfront pricing makes it easy to shop and compare. I believe you should not have to ask for the price of a vehicle. It should be listed. Every vehicle is AutoCheck certified, passed by extensive safety and performance inspection. Print out both reports from your home by going online at jones5auto.com. Jones 5 Auto Sales on 9th Street in Corvallis. You'll love the way I do things.
Enjoy exciting equine entertainment and support the Albany Helping Hands Homeless Shelter. Friday, March 22nd, bring a non-perishable food item to the gate at the Northwest Horse Fair and get $1 off your ticket price. Food donations go to Albany Helping Hands. Celebrate the spirit of the horse at the Northwest Horse Fair and help a great cause, too. Bring your food donations for Albany Helping Hands to the Northwest Horse Fair Friday, March 22nd. Discount on gate admission only. For more information, go to equinepromotions.net.
Yahoo Sports Radio, weekends on 1580 KGAL.
Yahoo! Welcome back to Real Estate Talk. I'm Dave Pautsch of RE/MAX Integrity. Great show today. And again, my thanks to John Bowens from Equity Trust Company and John Gibson, the Average Investment Guy, for being here today. If you've got any questions about doing that, again, it's www.trustetc.com, or you can call John. Let's catch up. Let's do the real estate showcase. Just one home in the showcase today. That's 495 West Ash Street in Lebanon. Price reduction now $159,900 for this beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-story home, 1,410 square feet, completely updated in 2010. New roof, new gutters, vinyl windows, beautiful granite tile counters, nice cabinetry. It's got the cabinets that you can't slam. Just absolutely beautiful open floor plan, upgraded carpet, large lot, fully fenced. That's 495 West Ash Street in Lebanon. Now listed at $159,900. And in the Lebanon market today, that, my friends, is a great deal. I do have one pocket listing I want to talk just 30 seconds about. This is located out in Scio off Crabtree Drive. 1,479 square foot home, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath on just under an acre. There is a detached 2-car garage with a shop area. So this is a great little property for somebody who is looking for a small home with a shop in a rural area. Fantastic view off of the back of this property. Listed at $169, and that is going to be in the MLS probably early next week. It is a pocket listing right now. If you want more information on that, there's only one place you can get it. That's right here at Real Estate Talk. Send me an email, realestatetalk@kgal.com. Okay, with that, let us jump into the real estate market update. I'm just going to have a couple of minutes to get through this. We'll start in Corvallis, where inventory is down 5 from our previous report. Today, 117 active residential listings. The average asking price of $356,803. 85 homes sold over the last 90 days. That's down 5 from the last update. Currently, 4.13 months of inventory. The median sold price in Corvallis over the past 90 days is up today at $259,000, averaging $157.24 per square foot. And on average, homes are spending 112 days on the market from listing to close of sale. I do want to make a quick note. Remember, we look back 90 days at the sale numbers, at the sold statistics. And keep in mind, it is now the end of March, the 21st of March today, so 3 months back is the 21st of December. So we are still seeing, in terms of the sold statistics, some skew from the holiday period, kind of the holiday hangover. Obviously, not many people were buying houses this week 3 months ago. So again, that does play in the numbers. Where you really want to pay attention, though, is the active numbers and the current active market. And keep in mind that even during the holiday period, sales were actually fairly steady, and you'll see that if you look at the trends. Shifting to Lebanon, 68 homes are available for sale today. That's dead even with last week. The median asking price is down slightly today at $156,000. Over the last 90 days, 40 homes have sold. That's up 1. The median sold price, however, dipped to $124,750, averaging $92.22 per square foot. Homes are spending an average of 152 days on the market, and there is 5.1 months of inventory available today in Lebanon. Finally, to Albany, where inventory is up 7, now with 203 active residential listings. That's the first time we've been over 200 homes on the market in Albany in a few weeks. 113 homes sold in the last 90 days. That's up 1 from the last update. The median sales price is down just slightly today at $160,379. Homes are spending an average of 144 days on the market from listing to close. The average dollar per square foot value is down at $102.35, and there is 5.39 months of inventory available today. And that is the market update for this 21st day of March 2013. It is spring in the Mid-Willamette Valley, folks, and I think the housing market is going to be showing us that same warming trend as we are moving forward. Sales have been very, very steady. Low interest rates are still keeping buyers in the market. Low inventory is still the biggest challenge that we've got. This is my plea, folks. If you are looking at selling your home, now may be an opportune time for you if you look at the inventory that's available. Again, the home is still going to have to be accurately priced for the market, and we are not seeing huge increases in prices right now, although they are steadily moving up. Last thing I want to talk about today. Okay, quick reminder before we do that. Live tomorrow, KGAL will be live tomorrow at the Horse Fair and Expo at Lynn County Fairgrounds. And the last thing I want to talk about today, and I'm going to be talking about this every show because I am absolutely passionate and believe in this program. It is called Homes for Heroes. It's a national program that offers rewards to our local heroes for their services when they buy, sell, or refinance a home. When a hero works with an affiliated real estate professional and or an affiliated lender, they will receive that reward from the national organization in cash after they close. Heroes in our community include active duty and retired military, police officers, sheriffs, first responders, nurses, other medical professionals, teachers, educators, firefighters. Folks, if you are a hero, or if you know a hero...
Locally owned and operated, this is the very independent News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.